Hello, hello. What's going on out there, crypto world? How are y'all doing tonight? This is No Noise with your host, Z-Rex, coming at you live on September 17th, 2018. It's been a nice little sell-off today. Bears getting a little excited. Some interesting things. You got ETH launching out there. Such a stupid name. It's Bitfinex's version of like an Ether Delta or something. Elon Musk, everyone's favorite visionary, and Dogecoin are coming together to combat Twitter scam bots. That's kind of funny. I love Doge, but I know a lot of people probably thinking like, oh man, the scam coin is teaming up to prevent scams. Can already hear it now. I'm going to go to my live screen before I forget. XRP is supposed to launch within a month, is what the exec tells CNBC recently. As we know, that doesn't really matter. News changes constantly. And the ECB guy over Mario Draghi, that's the European Central Bank, is saying we ain't issuing tokens, man. So they don't have plans to do it. I bet that they do. They're just not announcing them that. Those are just some of the top headlines you can check out. We don't really go into detail about those anymore, just because I just like to look at analysis more, technical analysis and charts. As Bernard Baruch would say, show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. But, you know, it's good to know all those things, so I just kind of get them out of the way from the beginning. Alright, let's jump right into it. Let's see here. This is coincheckup.com. It's an awesome website. It's like CoinMarketCap, just an alternative. Different data they have. They don't have as good of market cap graphs, though, or the dominance graph at all. But anyway, very cool. Let's see. So we are below the 200. As we discussed the other day, this going sideways was not hot. It's not looking good. And you could see it more in the charts, which we'll be jumping to here shortly. Bitcoin dominance still staying up here in the upper edge. If you look on here, this is a graphical representation of that dominance. And this website's cool too, Coin Signals. It's got other stuff on here too. But yeah, you can see here we got up to about 58 a couple days ago. Kind of just stabilizing there. I'm sure this is going to keep gaining some dominance. We've discussed about it testing over here into the 60 area. Seems very likely. So again, we're back again under 200's resistance now. Very much look out below if we get back into the 180s, especially break 185, which is a little slightly lower than this little dip. That would not be a great sign. Let's look at it a little bit further out. So yeah, you can see this whole last month we've kind of just been floating right around the 200 area. Let's go see what some big movers are today. Let me do a little filter action so I don't look at every shit coin, because I don't care about most of them. Alright, last day here. Oh look, Tether's up. No, I'm just kidding. So the worst, wow, everything in the last day is down. So Ripple and Bitcoin, and of course Dogecoin. Good old Dogecoin. They are all kind of flat, down the least about 3-4%. The worst one looks like Nano, Ethereum. Yeah, Ethereum's getting a little mollywop back under 200 bucks. Again, we'll be jumping into some detailed TA on that as well after Bitcoin. Tezos getting a little smashed on, but they had a nice rally up. I think they're about to go, they went live maybe today, or it's coming up soon. EOS getting hit on the chin too. A lot of like close to 10%ers here. Nothing too serious in the double digits beyond 10 besides like Nano. So the last week or so, Maker, don't know anything about that. Nano has been showing some good strength with Tezos. And BitShares, oh that's surprising. I love the BitShares, that's a real DEX there. If you don't know, now you know. Go check it out. It's really awesome. Probably the only real DEX that exists right now. Here's a chart of it. Just kind of, you know, it kind of looks like all the other charts right now. Nothing too crazy. just to give you some context around that. I am actually shocked that I don't have my levels set up over here. No worries, it does not take very long. Do a little Alt-H action to put some horizontals on. So back over here, Stellar doing some good performance over this last week, but then again, everything else, everything in the last 24 hours has been kind of selling off a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump into Bitcoin. Start talking about Mama Bear, the one that matters, the most important. All right. Let's see, and if anybody's listening or anything in the chat on YouTube is where I'm checking that now. If you want me to look at any tickers here in a little bit or have any questions, feel free. I'll be happy to answer them. All right, so we're still in this green box. We've been in it forever. Same story. It feels like I'm in stuck in a twilight zone here, especially when you look at it on the daily. Every time we get some life to the upside, it just gets murdered. We haven't even had a stab at getting below any of these ranges for the whole year, so that is interesting. And on this horizontal here, this red one, that is kind of my line in the sand. If we close below that on a daily, best watch out below, because there's not much support until probably about 4,000. So do be careful about that. Well, let's zoom in a little bit, see if we get any hints on the lower time frames. As we discussed about this the last video, that the DMI was showing that the bears did regain control right here, and at the same time you see that getting into the power zone, you have the blue dots here printing hardcore resistance pretty much for a day straight, day and a half straight. So we discussed that, and where you can really see that is on the hourly, where it'll give you the kind of the, on the DMI specifically, you can see they regain control here at about 10 o'clock Central Standard Time, Chicago time, on the 15th. And after they regained that over that evening and that night, they tried to bounce up and get back over this longer term moving average. The red one got rejected on the hourly, and we have since sold off. As you can see too, the momentum and the strength zone down here on the bottom, the DMI, it has not shown weakness at all. Even yet, it's still pretty damn strong. So do be very careful right here. The DMI has warned us once again. That indicator is my favorite. That's why I use it pretty much on everything. RSI is cool too, but again, I mostly put this on here to show for the show, because I know a lot of people like RSI, and it does have its benefits here and there. It's also a good sentiment indicator, so you can kind of look at this and gauge what everybody else is thinking, because everybody else is watching that. Not everybody's watching the DMI, that's for sure. If you go back here and look at this recent price action, though, there is lots of support in this 6150 area. You can see I have an alert set over here at 6127. You know, it's just kind of the rough area. If we get below that, especially on a daily, we probably will make a new low. That's just kind of what my gut's telling me, because if we can't hold it right here, then it's super likely that we will break out of it. But like I've discussed with this show for a while, when we drew this line back a month or so ago, and this red vertical is the 30th area for the SEC and all the announcements that they have to make pretty much in the next 10 days to 2 weeks. They're going to have to say yes or no on lots of ETFs, plus I guess the carryover from the one that they pushed back to do the commissioner review from last time, whatever. It's a bunch of hoopla, but it does matter at this point in time. I think that we could get a surprise pop, not from it passing, just from a little excitement of anticipation of it passing or something. So this is a really dangerous area to play. We were talking about that on the show last night, especially this range that it got into, or I'm sorry, 2 nights ago. Yeah, I mean, you're in like a damn $100 range this whole time, so there's nothing really to give you edge except for the DMI can a little bit, which did say the bears had slight advantage, but really the best way to play these is just for wait to price to get out of it. out of that $100 range, which it did. And guess what? Shocker. I know. It went back right in the middle of this damn green box. Like I said, Twilight Zone. Doo-doo-doo-doo. We just can't get out of this thing. I'll be really, really curious if bears can get this under 6150. But see, on the daily, 21 exponential got rejected 4 times. Whoops. 4 times. So that's not a great look by any means. And it does look like the purple is about to cross the longest term moving average, which has not happened since the run-up last year. So this is a very dangerous, precarious spot. So do be careful. Again, waiting for ranges to be playing this is definitely going to be your most safe and least risky play. And say that 5 times fast. But yeah, and you have this news event coming up any day now, because do know that, like they announced it a day early on that last one, and then the next day they said they're going to review it. So yeah, I'm really curious to see what happens in this next run, because if they do pass it, it would be real easy to get right up into this red box. I'm not sure if it would give it much energy to go past that initially, but coming into this box would be a target if they do pass it, and I don't think it's a very high probability. Although what the hell do I know? We just gotta wait and see. But like I said, that is only in the next couple weeks, and we'll know that. So that's coming up fast. Let's go to Ethereum. Let's see if we can pick it up off the floor. The unicorn shirt man is getting a little beat up. Lots of volume, even more volume than these previous days. We discussed a lot of this volume, how it hasn't been this high in a long time, almost like this entire year consecutively. We haven't seen that, so it is very noteworthy. The thing that does suck about it is that it did come into play as it's selling off, and we haven't had any good run up to kind of negate that a little bit. But you are seeing some divergence in the DMI, and let me see if you can see it on the RSI. Yeah, you are. Just barely. Just ever so slightly, but it is there. And this is a pretty large gap in price too. This is about $100, so that is very noteworthy. I am paying attention on this, but I am ratcheted down on the 4 and 1 hours right now just to kind of watch. The 4 hour just did turn bearish again today on Ethereum, so you know that kind of sucks. This usually is a nice pattern when you see these kind of flag type patterns, when you have this and then this, especially when this bottom one is angled up like that. This did not play out though. It did break down, so that is not a flag anymore. So I am kind of surprised that that structure did break. So let's see if we can get back out of this channel on Ethereum. And if you go down to the 1 hourly, again, it was showing the same thing. Whoops, don't need a pink line there. It was showing the same thing right here. Bears getting back in control, and especially when the bulls, which is represented by the green line on DMI, go into the weak zone, which is below mid-teens. As you can see, right after that happened, the bears started picking up real hardcore. We do have lots of business here, though. It's not looking good. Ethereum was kind of looking nice the last video that we had. If you look here, let me do a little replay. We'll just take out some of this. So if you look here, it was looking good. You had that pattern. We discussed it in the video. You have all this above here. It was setting up really nicely, but as you can see, as it started getting back over here, they regained control very quickly. And we discussed that if we go sideways too long, don't forget you have an x-axis too, not just a vertical one. All right, so time is very important too, and how fast the moves happen in that time frame. I think that's something that's missed. It's just kind of like volume and price, but it's like, well, what about the x-axis? Volume is not on the x-axis. It's not represented there. Yeah, you see it in this form of the horizontal, but not on the actual scales that you're using for the chart. So time is a very important factor in this, and this did go sideways for a little bit too long, and you should not be having candles like this, hammer candles in the middle of a consolidation. This should just be pushing up if it does have strength. Did not. Hourly again gave us a little clue about that. back here on Ethereum. You can see it even coincided with breaking below the 21 exponential moving average, and at the same time bears regained control here at let's see, early in the morning on the 17th, like 3-4 a.m. they had regained control, which has preceded by a big dump. And if y'all do recall, Bitcoin was actually already showing that the bears had regained control way before ETH did back here, which we discussed in that video, and I was definitely concerned about that. And because it was also on the 4 hour as well, which was the extra most concerning part. And you know, this is what happens when that momentum doesn't keep up. You can't, especially in bear markets, bulls have to, they got to rip face like this move back here. That was a really good chance to get out of this bear market, but it did not come to fruition. So overall, there is definitely a downward bias in this market for sure. So on the 3-day though, we are like super neutral. Sorry, that's a little bit messy of a chart. Let me get rid of this guy. There we go. That's if you saw that, that's the box that I like, the max capitulation box, where I like start backing the truck up. That's pretty much what that is. Anyway, on the 3-day, what's really interesting about this is we've been in the neutral battle zone on DMI almost the entire year. I've never seen Bitcoin do that in this chart ever, on any chart that you can pull up. So bears and bulls they've been battling in this tight ass range for a while, and you're like, well, tight ass range, 6 to 8 or 9,000. Yeah, I mean, you know, you could even bump it up to 10 if you wanted. You know, for this volatility of volatile of a product and stuff, you know, that's not that much. I believe the IV on Bitcoin is over 100 consistently, so that's not that surprising. This is just surprising to me though, that this is neutral on a weekly basis on this indicator. On a 3-day, it's a little bit more bearish in certain areas, and we certainly are getting more bearish right now. So this is a very, bulls better step up fast or get a surprise little announcement by the SEC. But if we don't, and those get pushed off again, it's very likely that this starts to test and maybe make a new low down here. Could that be the start of the capitulation low? Absolutely. That would be beautiful if we get sell off real hard to like the mid-low 5,000s and then snap back up into this box. That would be a really awesome setup. All right, let's go to Litecoin, see if we see anything over there. Let's see, still riding down this channel, nothing too exciting on it. Bears are in control on the daily still. They have been for the last week. Let's see on the 4 hour. Yeah, they regain control about the same time as Bitcoin on this sell-off. But do be cautious here. Don't jump onto shorts. I'm not going to. I didn't have a short and I missed it. But a lot of these are selling off to their 618 retracements. I've been noticing all the majors are hovering right around that. So if you don't know what that means, that means there's going to be lots of support in this pretty much range, which is about $50-51 bucks on Litecoin. And I've noticed that they're all kind of chilling at that 618, which is the most important Fibonacci number. So that's something to keep an eye on. Again, we're in the same boat, y'all. We've been in the same damn range. Y'all know the drill. If y'all want to trade some of this range stuff, we would just wait till to get to the tops of ranges, or use the DMI, how we've discussed before, watching and waiting for the hourly to get above into the power zone, which is above the mid-20s, as you can see here, and here as well. And it goes for the bulls too. You know, here they go, they get into the power zone, nice rally ensues. But really, that's more for fun. I like to trade on the 4 hour for initiating trades, because the hour is just it's a little much. You have to do a lot more managing. It's a little more work. That's not a bad thing, but you know, depending on your schedule and how much you want to be involved on the day-to-day basis, is kind of that's a decision that you'll have to make for that. And we are going right here on this last breach of the channel is kind of where we're finding support at the moment. We'll see what happens when Asia and everybody gets up, which is happening you know, over the next several hours. In Europe is Europe too. Let's look at XRP. Good old Ripple. Oh, Ripple's trying, just hanging out. Just down a little bit. Not too bad. What is that? About 3-4%. Yeah, everything seems to be in those low single digits as we were looking at coin checkup earlier. This looks, let's see if it is one too. The 618. You can see it touched it on this little spinning top, so that's a good formation to have. And now we're consolidating above the 50. But like I was saying, a lot of these coins are kind of hovering right at their 618s on these retracements. They definitely need to hold those. That is super important. I'm not sure if they will, though. It doesn't look super great. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, it's pretty damn neutral. 4 hour is bearish. The 1 hour is still bearish as well. So nothing really besides these 618 bases, because we're at the very bottoms of all like these support levels, y'all. So this is not like really your best risk to reward here is probably long positions with a tight stop and just get out and go to cash if we break any of these support levels. You know, the problem is, do be aware that if you do take those here, that can easily fall out. The floor can just come out real fast, like something like this. So depending on your platform and how liquid the tradable that you are engaging with, like you could possibly take larger than expected losses just due to thin market slippage, etc. So do be aware of that. All right, let's go look at EOS or EOS. Kind of almost combine those. Oh, look at that. We're back in this super support range. Wow, it's like I keep saying that. So boring at some point. But hey, it is what it is. You just got to read the charts. We do have lots of sell pressure here coming in. So this looks like continuation of some selling for EOS. We are back right smack at this 480, 470 consolidation zone, which we talked about a bunch back over here, playing this run there. Did not play it on this run here because we need a little bit more confirmation that we are out of the woodworks on the bulls. And EOS kind of had it a little bit, but has since given it up here like all the other coins in the last day. So not really that great. Not a big deal, but you know, we just got to wait a little longer. Be patient. Don't try to hyper trade or over trade. You know, patience and discipline will save you a lot of money in this market, or not just this market, in trading period or investing. Those are kind of the same to me. It's just long-term trading, short-term trading, short-term investing, long-term investing. I don't know, putting your money in there to get some more money. So anyway, I digress. Let's see. Let's look at Binance token, because you know Binance token sometimes has shown lots of relative strength in the past. Let's see if it's doing it now. We are finding support at this longest term EMA, which is a 300 around 350 EMA. These are kind of based off Fibonacci levels too, like kind of built in to the moving averages, so they're pretty nice. It's 2155. 144 and 377, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, 377. So feel free to use those if you would like. Let's look at, oh, need to add my horizontals on here. Give me 1 second. So we are neutral. Bears have a slight advantage on the Binance token, Binance coin. This sucks right here, guys. You don't want to see this. Rounded formations are not good. That is indicative of distribution. Be careful with those. Of course, if they're like the other way, like a saucer pattern, that would be more like accumulation. But in this, since it is the reverse, you know, be careful. Breaking out of this range would be very bullish, though. Let's see, you can kind of see a trend line, a loose trend line about there. So keep an eye. That would negate that rounding top, but right now that rounded top is definitely in play. And let's not forget, guys, we have come up from really, really crazy levels still. Really only if you bought in that latter part of the run up in last winter, you know, you haven't really taken any heat, and you're like even now. Yeah, and markets like to inflict pain, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do get a nice little flush out. I would actually welcome it. I've talked about it a bunch. I do timestamp all my videos, so feel free to go kind of check out all that. I would welcome it because then it's out of the way, right? And we don't have to think about it anymore. Right now, it's just like keeping everybody in limbo and stressing everybody out. Markets are good about that, though. So, not a surprise by any means. All right. Let's jump into equities, because I do add that to the show here. I know not everybody cares about that, but there's more things to trade than just crypto. And there's lots of leverage in equities, too. More leverage across the board than in the crypto space. I know that's hard to believe, but most people just haven't traded options or futures or leverage ETF products like 2 and 3x, you know, captured moves. I don't know, like Dust is one for gold, or JNUG, stuff like that. Anyway, so I've been talking about getting long on sell-offs in the traditional markets. You can see we're just banging up this 21 EMA here on the daily, looking fairly decent. We have very neutral oscillators. This isn't really divergence here yet because you have equal highs. I guess if you want to call it double tops, I don't know. I don't really care. That formation is stupid to me, but let's zoom in a little bit. I just never really seen it come to fruition that much. It's like double tops, double bottoms. It's just like, yeah, just treat it as like it's a support resistance and support or resistance, and that it's no more than really that. I do like the tweezer tops though, which is kind of like this, like these candles, like 2 equal ones with little wicks on them. The top, I do kind of like that formation. Is good for calling tops. I believe Bitcoin put one out in December and January on like a weekly time frame or so, on a higher time frame. But anyway, we are bullish or bearish now on ES on the 4-hour. That just happened in this last 4-hour candle that printed from 5 p.m. Central Time to 9. So that is interesting. Let's see if that gets some follow through. Again, on the daily, it looks good. On the 850, it's neutral. And on the hourly, we've been bearish since markets opened up late last night on Sunday evening. So that hourly, guys, is really good. If you want to do some scalping, I highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite things to use, and it's real simple too. You don't really need much other things on your chart just for that. Make sure you just have good targets, and when you're scalping, do realize that you're going for small moves. You're not trying to hold it for even hours, or definitely not days. You're trying to pretty much get in there intraday, in and out. So, but the market is looking like it's showing a slight weakness, but not too weak, because we still are consolidating above all-time highs. So until we break 2870-ish on a daily, not concerned. Let's go to Nasdaq. Nasdaq looks fine. It is kind of trying to breach this trend line here, and you know, you can kind of draw it a couple different ways, whatever. You can see though it is stabilizing above the 55 EMA, so that's going to be more formidable support. And then of course all the way down here to 7100, which is the previous all-time highs. So that's where I'm kind of watching this, and just to give you an idea, down to I'm sorry, it was 7200, not 7100. You know, that's about 3% down from here, so not too bad. About 250 points, and each point in these contracts is worth $20 if you didn't know. Futures, you do need to learn about all those things. Maybe I'll do like a futures episode one time where I talk about, you know, the tick sizes and the notional amounts, you know, because you do need to learn all those before you just jump in. Otherwise, you're probably going to get your ass handed to you. So, I'm trying to put together different videos and testing people and getting feedback and things like that, and then put some effort into what more people would like to see. But I do trade futures a lot, so it'd probably be beneficial for me to do it regardless. All right, let's look at the Dow Jones. We did not. This is the only major index that did not make new highs. If you can see here, they are about 20 what is that, 26,700 roughly, and it's trying. The Dow looks bullish though compared to the rest of the market by itself. We've discussed this in other videos, how I think the Dow needs to catch up, and so we can make the headline of, oh my gosh, all the indices in America have made all-time highs. That would probably line up real nice with this election to give Trump the best, I guess, view or look, like perception anyway, from other people. And I don't care about politics. That does not matter to me. So don't take it as like I'm supporting Trump or supporting any of the Democrats. I think they're both kind of jokes and just sit at the same round table. And I kind of call them the corporate circle jerk. They just sit there and help each other do all their own things, if you know what the circle jerk is. And it's just like, then they pretend later when they leave that room, they're like, "No, man, I hate that guy. He sucks, man. Yeah, that guy sucks. He has blue in front of his name." So dumb. So primitive. Like, when in life do you only have two choices too? It's like so silly. All right, let's measure this real quick because I know it's kind of close. Oh, no, it actually wasn't. The 618 was down here. So again, the Dow isn't bearish until we break pretty much a lot of this top part of consolidation, which is about, let's say, 25,000 roughly. I still do think we are in line to have a really nice move to the upside. So I'm keeping an eye out for that for sure. And once we do get that, though, that big move to the upside and everything happens, I'm not saying it will happen, but if we do get it and they put that article out, that'll be a really good time for people to start FOMOing and to maybe start reducing your delta exposure on the long side in the market, which is your directional exposure. Maybe you don't want to be all in at, you know, these all-time highs when people are all FOMOing their ass in, right? Maybe you do. I don't know. To each his own. I know I'll be scaling out for sure. I know a lot of this is weighing on stupid tariff news and all that kind of crap, which did come out after close today. They said something about, what was it? That they're putting 200 and something million or billion. No, it's 200 billion. It ends up being pretty much to where it's like 30 billion or 20 billion of goods, which, guys, that's nothing, man. That's like ass wiping money in the big picture. Now, yeah, would any of us like to have a 0.0001% of that? Absolutely. But you have to put things in context, though. All right, let's go to CL, which is West Texas crude oil. You know, I love the crude oil. I talk about it all the time. It's a great trading vehicle. It's not correlated to anything, which makes it nice. It's not really it's not a hedge per se, but it's just something that if markets crash or do something independent of this is kind of having its own game and going up and down, and it trades in ranges a lot. And it has back and forth action, so that's nice. As you can kind of see from this chart, right? This is a daily since the beginning of the year, and you know, this is some nice sine wave action going here. So that is beautiful for oil. It has been a slightly bearish after today. We haven't got mostly off price action and the EMAs, but we haven't got confirmation yet on the DMI yet. Not on the 1 hour, it's neutral. On the 4 hour, it got neutral. And on the daily, it is now neutral too. So that makes sense, being right on top of this trend line too. It's coiling up for a very large move, though. Do be aware of that. And it's hard as hell to give more weight to either side. One thing I do want to show y'all is, let's see here on the monthly. I'm not sure why these are on there, but just look at the price over here. On the monthly, all these EMAs are stacked up after this really big sell-off. It's really interesting to me too that this is probably about the 618 of this action, and if you kind of pull the wicks here or there, it pretty much puts it, let's split them. Yeah, it puts it right there, almost $77 a barrel. is hard resistance. And since Saudi Aramco IPO didn't go through this year, that was a big catalyst for oil price to be higher. Maybe this is going to get stalled out. I'm keeping an eye on it closely. I trade strangles on oil all the time. It's a great strategy for options. If you don't know, you can check it out. It's pretty much boxing in price. And I do sell them. I do not buy them. All right, let's look at gold. No, not gold. Or gall. Let's see. Here we go. Got about 1,200. Gold was looking all right earlier today, and since has been selling off since what is that? This morning had a nice pop, and now again, look at this. It's funny. Looks like a 618 right there. Yep, 618 at about 1197. I've been bearish on gold for weeks. I've been talking about in the videos for a while, and that's due to mainly dollar strength and currency issues here in the near future. That needs to get kind of hashed out, and I do think that this is going to put the ultimate pressure on precious metals, specifically gold and silver, and over the next year or two they should have lots of downward pressure on them. But I think dollar cost averaging in precious metals over the next few years is going to be a very viable strategy in the long term. And if you look at a monthly chart of gold, you can kind of see this is all the way back to the late 90s. It had a phenomenal run from about 250 up to 2000, and ever since then it has been bleeding off about half of its value. I'm pretty sure that we're going to test these lows again in the between the $1,000 and $1,100 range, especially when you look at dollar chart. Let's go do that. We actually haven't looked at it in a few days. Hover, man, they are all stacked on, so it looks like this range is being built. Looks like 94 to 95, so you got that tight ass range. Whenever this breaks out of one of those sides, it's going to move fairly large, and it's neutral on the DMI and bearish on the 4-hour. So maybe we'll get like a nice little rally here after the tariff announcement at the end of the day. Seems like maybe that was just put out to give like the last fear when you do a minuscule little, oh, we're gonna slap you with more too if you don't do it, Trump said. It's fun. It's like theater pretty much. It's kind of how I see it. Let's just look at a couple of the FANG stocks. Facebook did not hold up in the kind of off that trend that we were talking about in the older videos. Let me redraw that on there. I'm not sure why it's not on there. Let's see. It's kind of about like so. So you can see it is breaking out of this trend, and it's getting kind of bad here. There should be support in this range down to about 150, but this is looking fairly brutal now. You do have some divergence printing on the daily time frame, but not enough to get too excited. I'm more looking for direct price held and support around 155. So, yeah, Facebook cannot get any legs at the moment, which is interesting. How about Netflix? Netflix looks to be putting in like an ugly ass head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders here. It's not pretty at all, right? Something like that. So that's definitely there, and sometimes the patterns that aren't as obvious are the better ones. So it is kind of failing at this moment by dumping too much here. It needs to pretty much pick up like tomorrow to not negate that and make it to where it is nowhere near any of those patterns. All right, let's go to, I wanted to show AMD. That's what it was. AMD though is saying, what's up guys, we don't play. They have just been on fire the last 5 months. Almost 300% move on these guys, which is pretty damn crazy. I can't believe I actually didn't really play any of this, because I remember I mined a little bit back in 2014 and 13 and part of 15. And I just remember, you know, thinking about Nvidia, how it'd be awesome for them. But then I was actually mining with like AMD cards, but it never even crossed my mind to like get long AMD, thinking that they were just late to the, you know, crypto bump. And they caught up here for sure. And it's not like they didn't participate at all back here, but yeah, if y'all look at this chart, I mean, it looks like a damn altcoin. 1,200% on AMD just since last, or no, sorry, March 2016. Pretty wild. But yeah, I'm not touching this at all. If anything, I want to get short a lot of stuff, because I'm like, dude, how much higher can this go? But I've learned that irrational exuberance is a real thing, and the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent, so do remember that. All right, let's go to final thoughts with the BTC, Big Mama. And while we do that, though, we're going to jump over to shorts in the middle. Oh, look at this consolidating up here, guys. This is what we were kind of talking about. Are they going to get ready to set the new high of shorts? We haven't seen it breach on a closing basis. No higher than what is this close right here? 39,600 roughly, so let's just call it 40K. We haven't seen that happen ever yet since this data has been published. Let's see. Keep an eye on it. Get everybody in the hole after that goes down, then you're ready for super face rippers after some capitulation. Anyway, final thoughts with the BTC. Y'all know them, kind of. We'll just wrap it up. We're in this consolidation box, massive support. If we break out of this green box, we're going to the red line. And if we break a daily, close a daily on that hashed red line down there at about 5,300, oh man, then you probably want to hedge or get into cash or tether, however you do that, because there is not much support until we get to about 4,000, 4,200. So do be very careful. We do have a news announcement coming up in any day now in the next 2 weeks. So that's why this is extra dangerous to play. I'm waiting for price to break out of this box, and then I will be playing it accordingly. So I've been pretty bored trading. Actually, very bored with not much trading in cryptos, because I'm just waiting for some mama bear to show me the light, man. She's not yet. But surprise announcement maybe that they're going to pass one. That would be extremely crazy, and no one thinks that'll happen. I don't think that'll happen either, but I don't put shit past the SEC and their impeccable timings. Like back over here about what was that about not passing? I did the video. I think the title of the video was, did the SEC just splash cold water on the rally? And they definitely did. It was a lot of cold water. It was like nitrogen, liquid nitrogen, because it was abrupt. It was the A pattern that we don't ever see. We don't even know what the hell that is. How weird. Yeah, so guys, that's about it. I will be logging off here shortly after I make a couple more points. If you liked any of the content, please do sub, bell, and smash. Check out my Twitter. I post more stuff on there. It has links to my trading view and all that kind of info. And let me know if any kind of videos or anything else you'd like to see. Put them in the comments. Send me a message. Join the Telegram group. All that good, fun stuff. But right now, do be aware that the bears have regained control on almost all time frames. Yes, it is on all time frames, except the weekly. They don't have it on the weekly, which they haven't almost the entire year. So that is really, really messing with my head a little bit. But let's see what happens here the next week or so for the cryptocurrencies and price. I will probably just get sideways until we get into closer to this red line, is what I'm guessing. And that's what we've been talking about literally since the day I made the video of this sell-off, that we were just going to go sideways from there, because what else the hell have we been doing in this range? Sometimes thinking the most simple. Keep it simple, stupid, right? The KISS method. Just kiss it. Just kind of don't overthink shit, because that's when you start making really dumb mistakes. All right. Keep an eye on that hourly DMI to give you some clues. It warned us back over here when we talked about it in the other video. And not only did you see it on the hourly, you saw it on the 4 hour. So there were signs that this was coming. And no, there wasn't news. You don't need that. News doesn't matter. It's already all built into this stuff 90% of the time. All right, guys. I will catch y'all later. Again, this is No Noise Research with your host, Z-Rex, signing off. Until tomorrow, happy trading. Peace.